Light devotion, empty notion. Like a roaring ocean, slow in motion. Lay down your troubled mind. We are only kind and will kindly cease to breathe as we intertwine with their universe and its cosmic symphony. Smoke lingers after fire. Light devotion, empty notion. Like a roaring ocean, slow in motion. Lay down your troubled mind. We are only kind and will kindly cease to breathe as we intertwine with their universe and its cosmic symphony. Smoke lingers after fire.
QX70 Turbine. Now, as soon as I saw this one, I really like the look of it because I'm kind of fed up with 6.5mm motors on the little whoops. I just don't think they're really cut up for it unless you've got a super light rig and the most expensive motors, in which case you might as well have something a bit larger. 8020 motors, so 8mm motors or 8.5mm motors. Much better option, but we're limited to tiny props, so this really hasn't got much pop at all. I thought there was something up with the battery at first because I got about 30 seconds to a minute or so of like really mild flying around, and then the yaw kind of gets a bit sloppy on you, and then it'll try and recover and fall, and it's really not got a lot of power at all. But the hardware is okay, it's just limited to these props. Now it flies lovely and smooth. Like when I first put it up, I was like, okay, this is going to be awesome for some FPV. There's really no complaints about how smooth that flies, and it's fast enough. Same LED strip as the QX70, and I really like that. It's super bright, even brighter than some of the 250 quad lights that I've got. Okay. That's full punch out. I'm not sure if you can see or not from there, but the camera doesn't fit in the slot in the box. So it was kind of just laid on top. Wait. So you slot it in yourself, but it's already soldered on. And the antenna was actually broken off. The solder pads, one of them had slightly ripped off. It was still connected, but it's ripped off, pulling off the board slightly. So I've pushed that back down and a little bit of hot melt over it, and then secured it with some thread. Okay, now it's fine. It's hard to push out now. This is the stock battery that came with this thing. Well, okay, that was full throttle there. Just as I was coming down, and it just couldn't climb. Now if I give it a second and carry on, I'll get another 30 seconds or so of flying before it does that again. But that's not really 2 minutes now, and that's not stopped while I've been talking. So there's less than 2 minutes. 2 minutes is generous, basically. Stock flight time on this thing, which is not any good. You might as well fly that E010. I can get over 2 minutes on that with a little bit more relative power. So the stock battery is 600 milliampere, just like all the other QX and EX range. This is a 500 milliampere. It's only 25 to 50C, which is a touch lighter. I think it's about 3 grams lighter. We'll try that, see if it makes any difference. It does fit a little bit tighter than stock. It's got a little bulge, but yeah, CG is fine. Okay, so we've got 2 minutes to beat, and that was being generous as well. Okay, a bit more punch, but it's delayed. It's like you punch out and then it's like 1, 2, oh, and then you get the power. Oh, okay, it descended a bit on me there. Yeah, I've got a little raspiness as well. I'm not sure I've got a bent prop or something. It wasn't like that out of the box, so maybe I've dinged it. Oh, okay. Power just going there. That was the other thing with this one. When I arm it, motors are going. I can't actually. I can't actually get motor stop to work on this one. I've also tried flashing it, because putting stuff on Betaflight and then enabling motor stop and brushed mode has done it with everything else. But normally a CLI command of 32,000 or 23,200, either one of those for brushed sorts the spinning on arming out. This one, it doesn't. I don't know if anyone else has got that issue or not. But yeah, that power was utterly rubbish. So I think these, unfortunately, these 25 to 50C nanotechs are some of the nanotechs that are just randomly junk. Really not had many cycles on those at all. And I mean, they're alright, but not great. Whereas these little guys, these are now fantastic. 45 to 90C 300s. So, okay, I'm a bit skinny to fit in that tray, so I've just wedged it in with a little bit of cardboard. Okay, time to go. Yeah, noticeably more power, it feels lighter. It won't fly for that long though, unfortunately. Man, if that was the performance you got for 4 minutes, even 3 minutes, this would be a cracker. Woo. See, already losing power then. Yeah, really no complaints with how it flies. Definitely something a little raspy on there. Even with whatever raspiness it's got. So I'm not asking very much from it at the moment, just gently floating around. So it's kind of okay, but punch out is that. If you let it descend and then punch out, yeah, that's full throttle there all the way. It's just slow, sluggish. Can't believe they matched these props up with these motors and batteries, and with any batteries really, and sold it. It's harsh. I mean, it works. If this is your only FPV rig, you're going to have a great time for a minute and a half. If you've got lots of batteries, you can fly it, but the worst out of all of the FPV options really so far. So yeah, look, that's full throttle, losing power there. I'll keep flying it, see how long these batteries get. Okay, I'm coming down, coming down, coming down. So we've got 149 there. So you could push 2 minutes just gently floating around with this lighter battery or the stock battery. I'm not really impressed.
Ocean, empty notion. Like a roaring ocean, slowing motion. Lay down your troubled mind. We are only kind, and will kindly cease to be as we intertwine with the
Okay, QX70. Wasn't massively impressed with this one. Bit of a lemon. I mean, I like all the gear that's in there, but the props that they had coupled with those motors and batteries, I wasn't digging it. Not at all. You got barely 2 minutes flying, really, really gentle, and if you're a little aggressive with it, you could get it to lose power and come down to the floor within a minute or so. Now, my camera was also damaged out of the box because it doesn't fit in the box on the quad, so it was taken out and just laid on top, but the pads had actually come off the board side of the camera. They were still attached, but they'd come off on one side, so I've just tacked that down with a bit of solder, put some hot glue over it and some thread, and seems to be some lines in my feed, but there's not much else I can do about that. Now, this gear with 8-inch props, it's still not got tons and tons of power. However, I can get 4 minutes flight easily with the larger props. And this is a 3D printed frame that I got printed out a little while back from a local place. It weighs, I think it's about 24 grams, 22 grams. I'll put the weights up on screen. So it's a lot heavier than the stock one, which was like 4 or 5 grams or so. But those props are just a joke, really. On 1S anyway. So it was either make it 2S or use better props or a lighter lipo. I tried a lighter lipo and it was okay, but you're only getting 2 minutes flights. Inside this felt a bit smoother than it does out here, but it is quite windy. I'm not really flowing much ducted stuff outside in the wind yet. So you can feel a few yaw inaccuracies. When the power saturates, or when you fly really close over something, you can feel the quad hasn't quite got enough power to fly perfectly. It'll just get buffeted a little bit. But if they'd sold it with a frame this size that was, I don't know, 10, 12 grams, a nice lightweight frame. I think this would be an absolute killer, a really good whoop alternative. A little slow into the wind there. Okay, I'm going to try in rake mode. See how good we get. Yeah, I mean, I could do with a bit of a tune probably to fly better, but in terms of FPVable in rate mode, yeah, it is actually. I just wouldn't want to fly this in very much wind. And I bet its recoveries after flips are pretty terrible. Yeah. So we'll bring this one in now. And I like it. It's a nice FPV trainer for people who haven't flown before, because you're not going to harm this. It just can't fly fast enough, and under its own weight, you're never going to harm this thing. The antenna maybe could do with some protection. I'll put a linear antenna on there if it's for absolute noobs to try FPV on, but certainly one that I'll be passing to other people to fly.